Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman and I'd like to welcome y'all to my channel. In this video I'll review episode 8 of season 14 of Doctor Who titled Empire of Death. I tell you what I like about the episode, I tell you what I don't like about the episode, then I'll tell you why I think you should see the episode or just skip it. I'm also going to be reacting to the episode. You can find that full reaction on my Patreon channel and you can find a link to that Patreon channel in the description box below. Now, without any further ado, let's begin. Alright, so what did I like about the episode? Well, the thing I really liked about the episode was the villain, Sutekh.
We meet again, my old friend.
Now, one of my critiques of various villains and across different genres, different kind of properties, is that sometimes the villain just doesn't really... it's not menacing, it just isn't really something to significantly worry about. And so if the villain is horrible, I think about a movie I did like, Ghostbusters Frozen Kingdom. I felt like the villain was a little bit meh, or mid. Sutekh was not mid. Sutekh was menacing, Sutekh was intelligent, Sutekh was powerful. Basically, Sutekh killed everything. everything. So yeah, Sutekh was a significant villain. Now, of course, Doctor Who had to say, well, this is my strongest villain. I mean, you didn't have to say it. It was pretty obvious, but I'm glad the villain was menacing and was really worthy of this first season of Doctor Who. The other thing I really liked about this episode was the ending. So I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I will say that I personally was satisfied with the ending. When I say the ending, I mean the ending of the actual episode. And I would say the ending of the season overall, though I will give my critiques of this episode as well. But in regards to the end of this episode, it was very satisfying. It was heading in a certain direction, and I liked ultimately where they ended up. Again, I don't want to say any details, but I didn't leave the show feeling like I wasted my time. So, what didn't I like about the episode? Well, I will say I was confused for a good chunk of the show, or of this episode. Still a little confused now. And so, they go all over the place with this episode. They even take little side treks to places where they had a contrived reason for going to a specific planet with this woman. And I'm like, what was that? Like, and even as I'm watching it in my reaction, I'm like, what was that? The show was all over the place. It was kind of a mismatch of different things, and overall, it was just very confusing. I'll go and say they defeated Sutekh. How they defeated Sutekh? I watched the episode. I still don't really understand. I still not totally understand how Sutekh came back. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Russell T Davies was, he's a great storyteller, but for this particular episode, he put so much in there and still left so many kind of strings all over the place that I still came away with it really confused. And so that was one thing I'm kind of frustrated with. Maybe if I watch it a couple more times, it might make more sense, but ultimately, that was one of my big negatives of this episode, is that it was not very clear and it was very, very confusing. And my last critique of this episode, and I'll go and say the show in general, is that the Doctor's crying is getting a little old.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that you can't be emotional. I mean, I'm definitely not someone who says you should pin up your emotions and don't let them out. But the thing about this Doctor, and it's something that makes him very different than the past Doctors, but it starts to lose its impact, lose its effect. So he cries in every episode, and so, it's one of those things, it's coming. I knew it was going to come, with the death of everybody. And again, it's Empire of Death, so I guess that's a spoiler, but with the death of everybody, it's like, come on, like, I knew it was coming, or just save it for that. So have him cry, maybe in Boom, have him cry in this one, maybe one or two others, but to have him cry so much throughout the season, it took away the significance for me of the emotion at the end of this episode. Now, if he had just broken down for the first time, seeing all the death that was, wreaked across of existence, then yes, that is worthy of the tears. But again, he cries every single episode, and they just got a little old toward especially just towards the end of the season. All right, should you see this episode or just skip it? This is a tough one for me because honestly, I'll be completely honest with y'all here. If it was not the last episode, if this was just a random episode in the season, because of how confusing and all over the place it was, I would say skip it because it's very convoluted. I didn't think the storytelling was very good in this episode, and I mean of the overall episode. And I'm like, okay, this I'm not totally enjoying this because I don't know what's happening, and I felt like this could have been done better. That being said, because this episode wraps up so many pieces within the series, within the season, and because the ending is so tied to so many things that happened, I feel like you kind of have to watch it if you watch the other episodes in the season. And so it's like, as a standalone, I would say, it's not great, but as a conclusion, especially at the very end of the episode, I think is worthy of watching. So, when I watch it again, I'll look at it, I'll watch the whole thing, but really it's the ending of the episode that I really like the most. The rest of it, I'll try to figure it out, and if I don't, I don't. But overall, this episode is a see it. If you've invested in the season and you want to see where things go, then it's a see it. But as a standalone, just as a one-off, then nah, it's not that great as a standalone. Now, if you found that review interesting and or informative, please like this video, subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if there are other shows you want me to review on this channel, please leave those suggestions in the comment section below. Thank you all for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.